welcome to the Amazing Digital Circus!
Well, I guess we're doing this. Hey guys, Marcia's not here, back with another ranking video. Now, I'm still working on the Solar Balls characters ranking video, but I thought that would take way too long, so I decided to take a break and maybe talk about a different show. And that other show is none other than the Amazing Digital Circus. If you don't know what the Amazing Digital Circus is, TADC is a show created back in 2023 by Gooseworks and Glitch Production. Fast forward to right now, and the show has now had 9 episodes. So in honor of episode 9 being released, I decided to rank every single episode of the Amazing Digital Circus from 1 to 9. By the way, this video is inspired by Ellis Marks and Double C Square's ranking video, so shout out to them. Anyways, enough dilly-dallying. Let's start off with the first episode, which is... Well, here we go, episode 1. This episode starts off with this epic intro sequence, and then we are greeted by this jester girl who we later find out her name is Pomni, who later tries to escape the digital world, but she can't, no matter how hard she tries. Anyways, besides her, we also got the rest of our main cast, which is Kane, Bubble, Jax, Zooble, Ragatha, Gangle, and Kinger. Anyways, because this is a pilot, it shows a bunch of stuff that's going to be reoccurring throughout the entire series, such as Kane's adventures, Gangle's comedy mask breaking, the number 57, and Kane's hatred towards Bubble.
Do you like adventure, activity, wonder, danger, horror, pain, suffering, pain, death, disease, death, angel food cake? Ow! You parasite!
Another reoccurring thing about the show is that there are some moments that are actually really funny. Here are some examples.
What do you think of...
I don't... Yourself. If anyone needs me, then f*** off.
Oh God! Oh Jesus!
Oh no, they killed Zooble. Anyway, you guys want to go get something to eat?
Do you think pairing them up together is a good idea?
Of course I do. They're the two most mentally stable and capable characters to be paired together. Come on.
An insect collection?
I think it's a nest.
Anyways, let's talk about some iconic scenes in the episode. The first one is some of the characters going to meet Kaufmo. I forgot to mention, but Kaufmo was also part of the main cast, but then he abstracted into this creature, and then he beats the living crap out of Ragatha until she glitches out, and then Kaufmo chases Pomni, and then he terrorizes everything in the circus, until finally he gets sent to the cellar with all the other abstracted characters. Another iconic part of the episode is Pomni finding the exit door, and then she goes through this backrooms looking area. Anyways, after a while, she ends up in this very long hallway, which then leads her to end up in the void. Anyways, the third and most iconic part of the episode, which I'm pretty sure we all know about, is the ending, where everyone is having dinner together. Before then, the camera zooms out until we see this computer, and then the episode ends. Overall, for being a pilot episode, it's still pretty solid. It literally shows everything that's going to be featured throughout the future of the entire show, which makes it pretty monumental. So, for what it is, it's pretty good. Welcome to the second episode of the show. Now, this episode starts off with Pomni's arm abstracting, but that's okay because it turns out it was all just a bad dream. Anyways, apparently this episode takes place right after the pilot, because apparently everything in the pilot happened yesterday.
Let's hope you're doing all right. I know yesterday was a bit of a doozy.
A doozy.
Anyways, time for a new adventure. And this adventure is to capture bandits who stole maple syrup from a place called the Candy Canyon Kingdom. And for some reason, Zooble doesn't want to participate.
Nope.
Zooble, wait! I'm testing out a new AI in this one! It should be 57 times more immersive!
Anyways, they all enter the kingdom, which, by the way, looks fantastic. Then Gangle's mask breaks again. And then they meet the princess, who gives them a giant truck, which has a really silly horn sound. And then they finally set out on their adventure. And later they do find the bandits and decide to chase them, but not before Jack throws Pomni at the truck. Later, the gang fall down a giant river of fudge, and all the bandits, including Pomni, end up running into this thing. And somehow, only Pomni and Gummy Goo manage to fall underneath the map. Gummy Goo later finds all the NPC models, including his own, and he starts having an existential crisis.
Where's Mum?
You have a mom?
Shouldn't she be here with everyone else? I can't even remember her face. Did she ever have a face? Was anything ever real?
Okay, wait.
Anyways, going back to the rest of the gang, we have them stranded in the middle of a river. And then they are greeted by this giant fudge monster named the Fudge. Oh, and the other bandits show up.
I saw the Reaper wink at me.
Going back underneath the map, Gummy Goo is very upset still that he is just a fake person. But Pomni tells him not to be alone, and that he still cares about his buddies. And Gummy Goo is convinced, and they both become friends. Hooray! And then they finally manage to get back into the map, and then they hit the Fudge in the head, and then he dies. Anyways, Pomni wants to bring Gummy Goo back to the circus with everyone because she thought it was the least that she could do. Bragatha said, sure, why not? And then they all return to the kingdom. And then they all finally return to the circus, right before Kane kills Gummy Goo.
Oh, looks like one of these guys made it through.
Wait, what?
Anyways, the final scene takes place during Kaufmo's funeral. Everyone does their part saying about how much they're gonna miss him, and then the episode ends. Overall, episode 2 is a pretty fun watch, and it's actually one of my favorite episodes in the entire show. People had to wait like 7 months for this episode to come out, and in my opinion, I think the wait was worth it. This episode is going above the pilot.
Gangle's mask starts spinning, and Zooble turns straight.
My limbs straighten up and fuck off.
Yet another fantastic episode. In my personal opinion, I think that episode 3 might be the best episode of the series so far. It's jam-packed with so much stuff. Anyways, this episode's adventure is to enter a spooky mansion and capture a bunch of spooky activity hidden within it. Which honestly sounds like fun, and I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna participate. Oh, for crying out loud.
What?
Anyways, they all enter the mansion and then they meet this weird ghost guy. And then they are tasked with choosing between 2 doors. The good one and the scary one. And, King and Pomni go through the scary one.
Oh, that's the scary door.
Anyways, back at the circus, Kane tries to talk to Zooble about why she keeps skipping his adventures. And they go through this entire therapy session, which I gotta be honest, Kane is not a good therapist.
Ugh, forget it. You're probably not even listening.
Zooble, look at this cool bee I drew.
Anyways, back to the adventure, we see Pomni and Kinger end up in a weird basement thing. And then they find this weird creature thing. They also find these weird tape things, in which the guy talking through it says that he's been trying to kill that creature on the wall to protect his family. Also, the tapes are kind of inconvenient sometimes, like the second one, to which he says not to leave the head out of their sight after they left the head out of their sight. Anyways, then they take an elevator which sends them down to some sort of cellar. Anyways, the guy in the tape... Okay, I need to stop calling him that. He has a name. Theodore Milenhall in tape 3 got so focused on killing the creature that he accidentally shot his own wife. Pomni and Kinger tried to take Mr. Milenhall's gun, which was conveniently sitting on his corpse's lap. Also, this scene was kind of funny.
Please don't come alive.
Okay, I won't.
Anyways, Kinger managed to shoot the creature, and everything seems fine at first. But it turns out the creature was one of God's angels.
What?
And because of that, they got sent to hell. Oh look, it's the Elders and Mr. Milenhall's wife.
If your friends see him, I only hope he doesn't bore them to death with his endless monologues. That man could turn a 57-second story into a Greek tragedy.
Anyways, Pomni and Kinger are now in hell, and they end up finding this hallway with a bunch of tiny spirits. Pomni then tries to rush through the hallway, but then she ends up getting possessed. But thankfully, Kinger got rid of all the spirits. Now at this point, you may have noticed that Kinger hasn't been acting very crazy lately. And that's because he said that being surrounded by darkness brings him back to a time where his wife abstracted. And I just gotta say, this scene is absolutely spectacular. Like, this is the part of the episode that I watch constantly. It's so well done. Anyways, Pomni and Kinger decide to hold their breaths to make it past the hallway, and they ended up succeeding, and they reunite with the others.
You know, we care about you.
Did you remember to get my comedy mask?
Anyways, the last scene shows everyone returning to the circus, and then the episode ends. Overall, for being the third episode of the entire series, I think this one is the best one so far. Like I said at the beginning of this episode review, it's jam-packed with so much stuff. So much so that I'm intentionally leaving stuff out for you guys to watch the episode yourselves. Also, it's kind of fitting that this episode released during like October of 2024. This episode is going near the top of the list. Episode 4. I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty alright. Not my favorite, but I still like it. Also, it literally came out on my birthday 2 years ago, so that's a plus. Anyways, this episode starts off with Gangle, Ragatha, and Jax playing baseball, and Jax accidentally hits Gangle in the face. Anyways, Zooble then tries to help Gangle, and for some reason, Zooble has a piece that is conveniently shaped like Gangle's mask. And we are also introduced to Zooble's room, and I gotta say, out of all the characters' rooms, I think Zooble's might be my favorite. It looks really cool. Anyways, a few seconds later, the others show up, and I like this part where the others tell Pomni that she would look great with a unicorn horn, which is a reference to those arts of her. Anyways, time for another adventure, and Kane decides on another horror-themed adventure before Pomni stops him, because she just wants a break from that. Thankfully, they have a suggestion box, and they all choose one adventure, and that one adventure is to work at a fast food place. Sure. Now, you may think that because this is just a simple adventure, then maybe they would do great. But then they all just do terribly at the end. Except for Kinger, who sits this one out instead of Zooble.
It'll be nice to have you back on board, Zooble.
What, are you kidding me? I'm not just gonna be forced into this stupid adventure.
You can shut up now.
Anyways, this episode also brings back the return of some NPCs, including Gummy Goo, to which Pomni acts very awkward towards. We're also introduced to this new NPC named Orbs Man, and he has a very interesting language.
Okay, number 57.
Anyways, Ragatha is hit in the eye with this stupid sauce, which I guess is a drug because she literally ends up getting high because of it. And you might want to get used to it because she is like this for the rest of the episode. Anyways, now let's talk about Jax. Now, throughout this entire adventure, Jax just kind of wants to get it over with. Honestly, I think it's really funny that at some point, Jax literally tells Gangle.
I like you better when you're sad.
And then Gangle tells Jax that he just needs some more training, and then she ends up torturing Jax. Now, if you're wondering if I'm going to talk about Zooble, nah, they're good. But I do want to talk about Gangle. Now, at the beginning, Gangle was pretty happy and willing to work. But the more the adventure went on, the more she started having a breakdown. It got to the point where Gangle was happy by the end of it. So happy that she ends up running into oncoming traffic. Overall, this episode is really good. And like I said earlier, this episode literally came out on my birthday on 2024. So I guess you could say it was sort of a birthday gift for me. And I can at least be thankful for that, even if it was sort of unintentional. So overall, this episode is going above the pilot episode. Hey guys, editing Martian's not here. So you may notice that I am not using a Digital Circus song for episode 5. And that's because I couldn't really find a good OST for this episode. And also for episodes 6 and 7. Don't you dare say that, meme. But yeah. Episode 5 is undoubtedly the best episode of the show so far. The best way I can describe it is that it's like episode 3, but more. Just let me explain. This episode starts off with Zubul provoking Kane.
Oh, Zubul, you mismatched cash piano, I'll tear you to pieces! Constructive criticism would be greatly appreciated.
And it's later come to Kane's attention that some of the characters actually don't mind the suggestion box adventures. Okay, that part kind of felt a bit rushed. Anyways, because of this, Kane decides that today's adventure is a lightning round, showing every single suggestion box adventures. Anyways, we're gonna go through every single one. The first adventure is about Jax, and his adventure is just poaching animals that look like the main cast.
Ah, just like Mom used to make.
Anyways, after like 5 seconds, Zubul decides to make Jax a vegan for the rest of the day.
Democracy sucks.
The second adventure is about Pomni being president, and Kinger is her assistant. And Pomni is understandably confused because this was also suggested by Jax. Anyways, this adventure ends by Pomni trying to defuse a bomb.
Hi! I'm a New Zealand extremist, and I don't know what New Zealanders threaten people with.
The third adventure is them being in an anime, and this one was suggested by Gangle. And I just gotta say, I love the way everyone looks in this art style. Though I'm not really into anime, I mean the only two animes I like are Pokemon and Dragon Ball, but either way, this is still really cool looking. The fourth adventure is stargazing. I'm not really sure who suggested this one, but I have a strong feeling it was Pomni who did it. We're also introduced to some insane foreshadowing that we'll talk about at some point.
Do you have any actual friends?
Not anymore.
And it's at this point that Kane realizes that the cast likes their adventures more than his adventures.
Wait a minute, that's a bad thing!
Explain to Daddy Bubble how bad thing.
I think that... Don't say that.
Now, the most notable and probably my favorite part of the episode is this awesome intermission. It has great animation, a banger song, and this literally has like a billion variants on YouTube. The next adventure is them being at a bar. And this one's actually the most interesting one yet, because everyone tells each other backstories about what they did before they got sent to the circus. And Jax just spits out a whole Breaking Bad reference. And Kinger doesn't even know his backstory because he forgot.
Do you guys know about his wife?
Huh?
My wife!
The final adventure of the episode is a softball-themed one, suggested by Ragatha.
Beautiful night for a game, right, Bubble?
Anyways, this adventure shows everyone playing against evil clones of themselves, except for Gangle for some reason. And I forgot to mention this, but we're also introduced to the best NPC in the entire show, Disappearing Guy.
Oh, say.
Although, if I had to give one negative thing about this adventure is that evil Ragatha is incredibly annoying.
I hope you're ready to get completely annihilated. Nobody loves you and you're going to die.
Anyways, then Jax turns into a freaking maid. And then, after a while, the big tops finally won, and evil Ragatha deservingly dies. Overall, this is literally the best episode of the entire show so far. It's literally jam-packed with more stuff than episode 3. And I 100% recommend you guys watch this. This episode is going at the top of the list. Favorite character award. This episode starts off with Pomni and Jax finding Zubul in a pot because they overheard Kane talking about an in-house adventure and Zubul does not want to participate. Like always. They also mentioned that Kane literally sings Daisy Bell in front of Zubul's door, which honestly sounds fitting for Kane, I'm gonna be honest. Anyways, Jax snitches on Zubul.
And I'm glad I found you. We need even numbers, cause today's adventure is a team adventure. Meet you guys up at the stage in, let's say, 5.7 minutes.
Anyways, this episode adventure is Fortnite Digital Circus event. No, but in all seriousness, this is a really solid adventure. We even get a Pomni and Jax interaction, which I'm pretty sure is something that most of you guys wanted. Now, this episode isn't perfect by any means, because I have two issues with this episode in particular. The first issue is Ragatha. Now, at first she wanted Pomni to be on her team, but Pomni decides that she wants to be with Jax, which meant that Ragatha had to be with Kinger since Zubul and Gangle were also on a team, and Zubul's the one who gets killed first.
Oh.
And eventually Kinger dies, and then Ragatha just talks to him about some, ooh, Pomni just killed me and she doesn't want to be on my team, so now she hates me. Like, bro, Ragatha is acting like such a 5-year-old in this episode. Another issue I have is this Ragatha and Kinger one-on-one conversation. Now, Gangle and Zubo had a valid reason to have one, but this one, it's alright. I don't hate it, but every single episode up till now has had only one conversation like this, but this episode has 2 one-on-one conversations, and by the time the first one ends, by the time we get to the second one, I just lose interest. But this episode isn't all bad. It still has some very funny moments, like Gangle finding a Tommy gun and Jackson Pomni singing Daisy Bell in front of Zubo's door.
Give me your answer.
Are you seriously gonna start singing that?
Anyways, it's time for the favorite character awards.
I'd like to thank the committee for examining our nominees and voting on our winners.
We love you, Kane!
Shut up.
And then Jax literally starts hyperventilating in the bathroom. Man, I sure hope this doesn't go horribly wrong. And the winner of the favorite character awards is none other than Kane himself. Nah, never mind, it was Ming.
You shouldn't have assumed you won the award. Now we both look foolish.
And what's really funny about this is that Kane got last place. Overall, this episode is really good. I mean, it's not really one of my favorites, but I still really like it. Also, I'm a really big fan of those last one alive challenges. So seeing an entire episode centered around that is pretty awesome. This episode is going below Candy Carrier Chaos. Oh boy, here we go. We are now on the final 3 episodes of the show. Anyways, this episode starts up with everybody being very confused because Kane is nowhere to be found. Until he kind of just shows up. Awesome. He also introduces everyone to the Chinese room. Anyways, Kane says that he doesn't have an adventure for them today, so he just wants everyone to just chill out on the digital lake because they haven't been there for some reason.
You should throw a freaking beach party.
Good boy.
And they all just have a fun time at the beach. And I just want to point out something that I really like. There's this scene where they play volleyball in the lake, and then Ragatha's button falls off, and Pomni swims down to try and get it, and she meets 2 interesting looking fish. And what's interesting about them is that the yellow one is voiced by hjsaklfhl, which you may know is also the voice actor for Charlie from Smiling Friends.
So, I was just talking with my brother here, and yeah, you are definitely not getting our sunken treasure chest.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause.
And the pink one is voiced by Senior Palo.
I'm the one that tells lies.
Anyways, Jax decides to go back to his room, where he shows a picture of him, Kaufmo, and some weird frog character, who they may seem to be random, but they will actually become important later on. Anyways, Jax then falls asleep and goes through this very trippy looking sequence, and he almost abstracts before Pomni interrupts him. Pomni also finds this weird mannequin guy, whose name is Abel, and he actually says that he's not an NPC, but rather a human being. He also says he found a way to leave the digital world. Anyways, everyone meets up to try to open the Chinese door. And they try to unlock the door with all of Jax's keys, which he has in his room.
None of these even fit in the keyhole.
Has anybody even tried just...
Oh, thank God.
Anyways, in the Chinese room, Abel says that he was an employee at a company called C&A. And you may have noticed that Abel decided not to invite Kinger because Abel says that he has some history with Kinger.
You really think Kinger worked with him?
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
I can see it.
Anyways, Abel has a plan. If everyone can somehow manage to get to Kane's office, they'll be able to shut down the console, which is keeping everyone in the digital world. Jax's part of the plan is to distract Kane by insisting on hanging out with him, to the point where Jax makes him so happy that he starts buffering, to which Jax can then pull the key card out of Kane's mouth.
What you doing there, Jax?
Have I ever told you how it's my dream to get eaten by you?
Meanwhile, Ragatha, Pomni, and Abel head to this weird place to get administration passes to get to the console. Anyways, after a bit, everyone reunites and Pomni gives everyone the keys, even Kinger. And everyone manages to get to Kane's office with the power of Glitchy Cube. And they all make it to Kane's office, which, I gotta be honest, gives me Harry Potter vibes. I mean, just look at it. And the music that plays in Kane's office is just the cherry on top.
Hey, you alright?
I'm great.
Anyways, they finally make it to the console and they are tasked with pressing one of two buttons. The red one traps everyone inside, and the blue one releases everyone. But Pomni is very skeptical about this, and Zubul starts questioning why Pomni is resisting, until Jack starts hyperventilating and he accidentally presses the wrong button. But then, after a few seconds, Kane shows up. And apparently, everything that happened in this episode was just an adventure this entire time. And everyone is understandably devastated, and Jax finally loses it. Overall, this episode is just fantastic. And when I say that, I mean it. But as most of you may know, after this episode, it's gonna be the beginning of a 2-part series finale in the form of Digital Circus, the last act, which is a compilation of episodes 8 and 9 into a whole movie. And it was actually released in theaters as an early access to the final episode. Anyways, this episode is going at the top of the list. It's awesome. Here we are, episode 8, the second to last episode of the entire show. I gotta be honest, it's a fantastic episode. It's not really jam-packed with a lot of stuff like episodes 3 and 5, but there are some things about this episode that make it so spectacular. So let's talk about it right now. We begin with some interesting Kane lore, and then we're introduced to the original cast. Even Kinger's wife, named Queenie, but sadly she abstracts, leaving Kinger alone in the circus for quite a while. Anyways, back in the present, everyone is still upset that everything they went through last episode was all just a big lie. And Pomni comes to the conclusion that they just need to give up on trying to leave. Meanwhile, in Kane's office, Kane is very confused about the fact that nobody likes the things that he does for them. And after a bit, Kane just gets more anxious and more anxious and more anxious until he absolutely loses it. And when he arrives to the cast, he forces them to go on an adventure. And we get this incredible music number for this episode called The One Who's Running the Show, which is the song that you've been hearing throughout the episode's review so far. You guys seriously need to listen to this song. It's absolutely amazing. And I think it's almost as good as Get Your Jack Toy, Have a Little. Anyways, it's been a couple days later and everyone is just absolutely exhausted.
Break time! Gotta brainstorm some new ideas!
He shredded me.
Anyways, everyone decides to get out of the open for a bit and just relax. Until Pomni decides to put a bucket on Kinger's head. And after a bit, Kinger finally gains his sanity back. He also talks about C and A and a co-worker he used to work with called Scratch. No, not that Scratch. He also mentions that he partially made Kane, which I guess makes him a father. Anyways, Pomni tells Kinger that Kane has gone insane, so Kinger comes up with a plan. Kinger says that although Kane made the digital world and he has full control over the place, he says that everyone else also has control. It just requires a lot more concentration for them since Kane is just used to it. And Pomni takes advantage of this by summoning that exit door from episode 1, and she goes through this backrooms looking area. Again. And she does this to retrieve a computer to give to Kinger. Meanwhile, everyone, except Kinger, tries to distract Kane.
Wow, Kane, you are so funny.
Could you say it with a little more gusto? That's better.
Anyways, Pomni gives Kinger the computer so that Kinger can temporarily stun Kane for a bit. And Pomni tries to help the elders distract Kane. And Kane does show up, but he realizes that the cast members are acting very strange, and he starts growing very suspicious. Until...
I think I'm just gonna check up on...
We think your ideas suck!
Huh?
Huh?
Yup, everyone starts provoking Kane. Everyone tells Kane how much they hate him, and then we get the part that I've been dying to talk about. Kane crashes the frick out. He starts torturing the circus members with their biggest nightmares. And the music that plays in the background in this scene is even more intense. And when it seems like Kane is about to absolutely destroy them, Kinger accidentally kills Kane.
Wait, no.
Wait.
Then after that, the digital world just absolutely crumbles, leaving only the circus members in a lifeless digital world.
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
Holy shit.
This episode is just absolutely spectacular. Literally the best episode of the entire show so far. But this isn't the end because we have only one episode left. Let's do this. Episode 9 is number 1. Period. It's a fantastic episode to end off such a fantastic show. It's the longest episode of the entire show, and I actually watched it the moment it premiered. And that's why I highly recommend you guys watch it for yourselves. Anyways, we pick up on everything that happened last episode, and Jax is extremely upset that Kinger messed everything up. And this causes him to isolate himself from everyone until he finally abstracts off screen. So Pomni tries to calm Jax down by putting him in a dark place. And after Pomni hugs him, she teleports to this weird place with a bunch of doors. The first door shows us Jax's more dark side, and he ends up strangling Pomni. The second door shows Gango going all manager mode like in episode 4, and Jax is wearing that freaking maid outfit from episode 5.
Oh, this! I figured what better way to honor Zubal's spirit than by wearing something all gender freaky, right?
And the final door shows us this Looney Tunes looking segment, and it just looks so goofy, I love it.
You killed the only person I've ever loved! Now I'm going to kill you!
Sheesh, you just blame me for everything, don't you?
And the final door shows all 3 Jaxes together playing cards. There's also another one who could play the piano. But Pomni wants to find the real Jax, but the other Jaxes don't want to help her, so she just forces them.
You women need to learn to quit prying all the time.
Anyways, Pomni finally opens the real final door, and we get this very long backstory about Jax. And we see that Jax actually had a nice friendship between him, Kaufmo, and Ribbit, who is the frog character I mentioned back in episode 7's review. Until we get to this part where Jax and Ribbit are hanging out in Ribbit's room. And Jax tells her about his relationship with his mom. But after that, Jax stops hanging out with her because he thought that she was prying over Jax's personal life. Until Jax and Ribbit are in this snowy adventure, and Ribbit just says that she wants to be friends with Jax again. And this actually causes Ribbit and Jax to start arguing with each other.
We were great friends, and I'm sorry for crying, but I don't want this one stupid mistake to be the thing that ends all of it.
And after all that, Ribbit finally decides to isolate herself from Jax, leaving her to abstract. And we finally return to the string of events that happened in the prior episodes. And after Kaufmo abstracts, we see this.
You're not looking too good. You gonna cry?
And after all of that, Pomni finally finds the real Jax and she comforts him. And I gotta say, this scene had me bawling my eyes out the first time I saw it. It's just so good. But then Jax starts hyperventilating, he hits those flash grenades, and then he starts glitching out. Not before the others save Pomni. So then they put Jax in a giant tent and they finally restore the circus. We also eventually see Kane stranded in the void. He also realizes the error of his ways and he sets the blue AI free. And Kane finally returns to the circus and he apologizes for everything he's done. And he says that he doesn't want control over the digital world anymore. And Kane finally tells the truth by showing everyone a presentation about what everyone is doing in the real world. It's an amazing part of this episode, and the music that plays in the background just gives me goosebumps. And after that, Kane still offers to open both worlds so they can just do whatever the heck they want. And so, Pomni and the others decide to stay. And they even renovate the place, and now it looks even better than before. I gotta say, when I said that this episode was the best in the entire show, I mean it. I think seeing a happy ending like this is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I said before, this episode is going at the top of the list. And that's that. That's the entire show. The fact that almost every episode took 2 months to make and they have this high much of a quality is insane. Shout out to Glitch Production and Gooseworks for making such a fantastic show. Now, if I were to rank every episode from worst to best, it would probably be number 9, the pilot. Number 8, Fast Food Masquerade. Number 7, They All Get Guns. Number 6, Candy Carrier Chaos. Number 5, The Mystery of Milenhall Manor. Number 4, Untitled. Number 3, Beach Episode. Number 2, Episode 8. And number 1, Remember. Now, I would love to make a really long outro for this video, but at the time of recording this, it is almost midnight, so I think I'm just going to call it here. Once again, shout out to Ellis Mark and Double C Squared for inspiring me to make this video in the first place. And thanks to you guys for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.